You lose a friend there, but you also, in some respects, it's grieving the band again, is it not?
It definitely brought up feelings like that. Look, there's now only 3 other people on the planet that can deeply understand my professional journey. Like, you never say never, right? But never, like, I can't ever imagine. I'm not sure it would be right to him. Like, say, sake of argument, 25 years time, it's like a fucking Oasis thing. They offer us an arm and a leg, and they're like, come back and do this many shows. I don't know. Yeah, I think it just completely put a pin in all of that.
That was the moment. The moment the hope finally died. The moment the promise was officially broken. For 10 years, the One Direction reunion was pop music's biggest guarantee. It was never if. It was always when. We waited. We held on. We believed them. But that one sentence, that heartbreaking admission, changed everything. Louis Tomlinson didn't just say a reunion was unlikely or complicated. He said it would be wrong. And to understand why he used that word, a word so final, so absolute, you have to understand that what we thought we knew about One Direction was only half the story. The dream of a reunion, as we knew it, is over. And Liam Payne is the reason why. Chapter 1. The Inevitable Promise. Let's be honest. We all bought into it. Because they sold it to us. When the hiatus was announced in 2015, they called it a break. A pause. 18 months, they said. It was a see you later, not a goodbye. And for the next decade, they fanned that flame. Relentlessly. In countless interviews, the question was a ritual. And the answer was always a variation of someday. Niall was the optimist. We'd be silly not to. Harry was the mystic, never closing the door. But the biggest champions? The most vocal? Louis Tomlinson and Liam Payne. In a twist that is now completely heartbreaking, Louis himself said it, there's no one who would have campaigned more for One Direction to come back than Liam. I'd say I came in close second. This wasn't just fan delusion. This was a narrative actively crafted by the band. They knew we were waiting. They knew we were holding on. The 10-year anniversary in 2020 sent the fandom into a meltdown. A new website. A flurry of social media. It felt like the countdown had finally begun. The collective belief was that the gravity of what they built was just too strong to ignore. It was inevitable. It was a promise. It was just a matter of time. Or so we thought. Because we all missed the single most important part of the equation. We were all looking at the wrong part of the stage. Chapter 2, The Machine versus the Brotherhood. To understand the void Liam leaves, we have to stop seeing One Direction as just 5 charming guys. We have to see them for what they were. A perfectly balanced, complex machine. A 5-part system. When Zayn left in 2015, the machine stuttered. The harmony changed. But the core engine, the 4-cylinder engine, it kept running. They proved it could. Made in the AM was a triumph. It was different, but it worked. So we all settled into our new understanding. We assigned them roles. Harry was the rock star, the frontman. Niall, the fun-loving heart, the musician. Louis, the lyrical soul, the emotional anchor. And Liam? This is where we all got it wrong. To the casual observer, he was the steady one. The responsible one. Daddy Direction. But that label, it was a massive, massive understatement. It hid the truth in plain sight. We didn't see what he really was. We didn't see the architect holding the blueprints. We didn't see the scaffolding holding the entire structure up. And that architect, that scaffolding, was Liam Payne. Chapter 3, The Architect of the Sound. One Direction's sound didn't just evolve from bubblegum pop to stadium rock. That was a fight. A deliberate, creative battle. And who was at the center of that fight, pushing the band to take creative control? Louis Tomlinson. And who was his main partner? His go-to man in that battle? Liam Payne. Together, Payno and Tomo became the band's most prolific, most important songwriting duo. This isn't an opinion. It's a fact. Story of My Life. Steal My Girl. Night Changes. History. These are not deep cuts. These are the anthems. These are the songs that defined their legacy. Their partnership was magic because it was symbiotic. If Louis was the soul, bringing the clever, emotional lyrics, Liam was the skeleton. He brought the melody, the structure, the deep musical knowledge to make that emotion land. You cannot have one without the other. But his role as architect wasn't just behind the scenes. It was front and center. Go back and listen. Who kicks off What Makes You Beautiful? Liam. Who opens the explosive first verse of Live While We're Young? Liam. His voice wasn't just another voice. It was the bedrock. The strong, steady baritone that grounded the entire song. And when Zayn left, it was often Liam who stepped up, taking on those impossible high notes, proving his insane versatility. You don't just fill that void. You can't just redistribute his lines. When Louis says a reunion would feel wrong, this is what he means. How can you stand on a stage and sing history, a song born from your deepest creative partnership, without the man who built it with you? It would be an echo, an empty room. But his role as architect, it went far deeper than just the music. He wasn't just building their sound. He was building the band. Chapter 4, The Anchor in the Storm. If Liam was the musical architect, he was the group's structural leader. Remember, he had been through the X Factor grinder before. At just 14, he'd already tasted failure. When he came back, he had a quiet maturity, a gravity, that the others didn't. In the band's formation footage, it's Nicole Scherzinger who points to him. He could be the leader. She saw it. And he became it. In early interviews, watch closely. When a tough question comes, or the other boys are goofing off, who steps up? Who brings it back? Liam. Fame at that level. It isn't a breeze. It's a hurricane. A relentless, crushing storm of pressure, exhaustion, and chaos. A group of 5 teenagers needed an anchor to survive it. Liam was that anchor. But you don't have to take my word for it. In his devastatingly beautiful tribute, Louis Tomlinson himself confirmed it. He called Liam the most vital part of One Direction. And then, he admitted something incredible. I think we all looked up to him. I don't think we would have been brave enough to say at that age, but we all looked up to him massively. Read that again. The man who was his creative partner, his second in command for the reunion, was also the man he looked up to. So now, put yourself in Louis' shoes. How do you replace the irreplaceable? You're not just missing a bandmate. You're not just missing your co-writer. You're missing your anchor. The man you secretly saw as your leader. The internal chemistry is not just altered. It is permanently broken. The answer is, you don't. And that leads us to the moment the entire narrative, the entire dream, shattered. Chapter 5, The Wrong Turn. The tragic passing of Liam Payne was a shock that ripped through the world. For fans, it was the definitive heartbreaking end to the dream of ever seeing all 5 together again. For the 4 men who shared that impossible journey with him, it's a loss we can't even begin to comprehend. The world went silent. The question of when wasn't just delayed, it felt disrespectful. Then, rumors swirled. A tribute? A performance? A representative for Louis shut it down. He could never get up there and sing as part of the band after what has happened. But it was Louis' own words, raw and unfiltered on a podcast, that finally told the whole truth. Asked about a reunion, he didn't give a PR answer. He said he couldn't imagine it. He said he wasn't sure it would be. Right to Liam. He called the entire idea infinitely more complicated. This isn't a man negotiating. This isn't a man checking schedules. This is the sound of grief. This is the sound of a brother, protecting the legacy of his friend. This is the twist. We all thought the problem was logistics, schedules, solo careers. We were wrong. It's a moral problem. What Louis is saying is that One Direction was not a brand. It was a brotherhood. It was a specific combination of specific people. To get on stage as One Direction, without the man who co-wrote the setlist, without the man whose voice opens the show, without the man who held them all together, it wouldn't just be a tribute. It would feel like a betrayal. It would be a lie. How can you sing history when the most vital piece of it is gone? You can't. Louis has drawn a line in the sand. He's protecting Liam. He's protecting the legacy. And in doing so, He's confirmed the quiet truth we never wanted to admit: the One Direction we knew is gone. Forever. But what if the story isn't over? What if this ending is actually a new beginning? Chapter 6: The Legacy, Not the Reunion. Louis' heartbreaking honesty doesn't erase the hope, it redefines it. It forces us to accept that some things, once broken, can't be fixed. They can only be honored. The architect is gone. The anchor is gone. The band, as a living, breathing thing, is gone. But the story is changing. In a move absolutely nobody saw coming, Louis Tomlinson and Zayn Malik are reuniting. A 3-part documentary series. A road trip. An adventure of reconnection, exploration, and a lot of laughter. Think about that. The two members whose public fallout was the most painful are the first to publicly come back together. This isn't the reunion we wanted, but it might be the one we need. It's not a stadium tour. It's a conversation. It's not about reliving the past. It's about understanding it. It's about two brothers finding their way back to each other after navigating a storm, and after losing a third. It's a new chapter. The legacy of One Direction was never just about a future tour. It lives in the albums. It lives in the memories. And it lives in the complex, unbreakable, and now permanently altered brotherhood between these men. Liam Payne's contribution is immeasurable. He was a writer, a leader, a voice, and a brother. And perhaps the most fitting tribute to him is to finally understand, as Louis now does, that he is, and always will be, completely irreplaceable. The final reflection. Liam's musical legacy is woven into the very DNA of One Direction. His partnership with Louis gave the band its soul. The story is changing, not ending. And if you believe in understanding the deep emotional stories behind the music, make sure you subscribe to Mymusing. We're here to explore the why. Now, I have to ask you, do you agree with Louis? Would a reunion, even as a 4-piece, be wrong to Liam's memory? Or is there a way to honor him on stage that would be right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And as always, thank you for watching.